Lady Gabriella Windsor makes rare return to public eye for inspiring night out. There are evenings that exist simply to be seen, and then there are evenings that exist to mean something. Thursday night at the Berkeley Hotel was firmly, unmistakably the latter. Lady Gabriella Windsor stepped back into the public eye, and she did it in a way that felt entirely true to who she is. No noise, no drama. Just a woman in a breathtaking black lace gown, standing in a room full of people who had gathered for one shared, urgent purpose: to put music back into the hands of children who need it most. And the moment she walked in, the room knew something special had arrived. The gown itself deserves a moment. Floor-length black lace with a glittering silver belt cinched at the hips. The kind of ensemble that manages to be both dramatic and refined at the same time. Lady Gabriella paired it with pink velvet pointed toe heels, a choice that added just enough softness to the look, just enough personality. Her signature blonde hair fell loose, parted sleekly down the middle. The makeup was elegant and warm. Rosy blush, fluttery lashes, a pink lip. She looked, in every sense of the word, radiant. But here is what matters most about that image. It wasn't just about the fashion. It never is with Lady Gabriella. When she appears, there is always something deeper underneath the surface. A reason, a conviction, a cause. And on this particular evening, the cause was Restore the Music.
For those who may not be familiar with this charity, let's take a moment, because this organization deserves to be understood properly. Restore the Music exists to provide musical instruments to children in the United Kingdom's most underserved communities. Not the children who already have access. Not the schools where the music program is thriving and well-funded. The ones who have been left out of that story entirely. The ones whose schools cannot afford instruments. The ones who have never been given the chance to discover that music might be the thing that changes their life. That is what Thursday's gala dinner at the Berkeley Hotel was raising funds for. And Lady Gabriella Windsor was there not as a casual guest, not as a familiar face lending a name to a program, but as the charity's patron. This is her cause. She has made it hers. Think about what it means to be a patron of a charity like this, when you yourself have a lifelong, deeply personal relationship with music. It is not a ceremonial role. It is not a title taken lightly. For Lady Gabriella, the connection runs all the way back to childhood, all the way back to a small girl in a program called Fun with Music, sitting in a room listening to classical pieces come to life through storytelling. She has spoken about that experience with real tenderness. She recalls a woman named Anne Racklin, described as amazing, as enchanting, who led the program and created a world where music wasn't just sound. It was story. It was feeling. It was imagination. Anne Racklin, she remembers, sat in a wonderful big wicker chair with a high back. And from that chair, she opened a door that Lady Gabriella has never closed. That was my first very magical and memorable experience of music when I was tiny, Lady Gabriella has said.
Magical. That is the word she chose. And you can hear in it just how formative that experience was, how deeply it took root. Because here she is, decades later, standing as the patron of a charity whose entire mission is to give other children that same magical door, and to make sure it is open to all of them, not just the fortunate few. That is not coincidence. That is consequence. The consequence of one early experience that mattered. The evening itself was everything a gala dinner at the Berkeley should be. Elegant, purposeful, alive with energy. But the highlight, by all accounts, was not the food or the decor or even the extraordinary company in the room. The highlight was the performance. Students from 4 academies within the Harris Federation took the stage. These are young people from the communities that Restore the Music serves. Children who, because of this charity's work, have had instruments placed in their hands and music placed in their lives. And on Thursday evening, they performed. They performed Gloria Estefan's Turn the Beat Around. They performed Billy Joel's New York State of Mind. Just pause on that for a moment. Children from underserved communities in the United Kingdom, standing in one of London's most distinguished hotels, performing with confidence and skill and joy in front of an audience that included people from the worlds of music, business, finance, philanthropy, education, and the arts. That image alone tells you everything you need to know about why this charity matters, about what it is actually doing, about the distance it is helping young people travel. And Lady Gabriella was there to witness all of it.
Later in the evening, the guests were treated to a performance by the brand new Heavies, including their beloved track, Midnight at the Oasis, a warm, soulful note to close out an evening built entirely on the power of music to connect and transform. When Lady Gabriella spoke at the event, her words were striking in their clarity and their passion. She said, "It is truly inspiring to see such a brilliant cross-section of people from the worlds of music, business, finance, philanthropy, education, and the arts come together tonight with a shared purpose." And then she said something that cuts right to the heart of what Restore the Music is really about. She said, "Restore the Music isn't just about instruments. It is about giving children the agency to pursue different paths." Agency. That is the word. Not just opportunity, agency. The ability to choose. The ability to say, I want to go this way. I want to build something with this. I want music to be part of my story. Because without the instrument, without the access, that choice doesn't even exist. The path isn't just difficult, it is invisible. Lady Gabriella understands that because she has lived a version of it from the other side. She has seen what music can do when it is given space to breathe. She has built a career as a professional singer-songwriter, not as a hobby, not as a royal footnote, but as a genuine, committed artistic pursuit. She knows the hours behind it. She knows the craft. She knows what it costs and what it gives back. So when she stands in that room and says this charity is about more than instruments, you believe her completely. Now, Lady Gabriella's presence at this event carries additional weight when you consider how rarely she appears in public. She is, by choice and by nature, one of the more private members of the extended royal family. Daughter of Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, she has never sought the spotlight for its own sake. Her public appearances are selective, deliberate, meaningful, which is precisely why, when she does step out, it lands differently. Her last meeting, to be personally asked by the Princess of Wales to be part of it, that speaks to the regard in which Lady Gabriella is held, and to the genuine connection between these two women. Lady Gabriella spoke about the experience with characteristic warmth and humility. It was such an honor to be involved, and very thoughtful and kind-hearted of the princess to include me. I was very touched, she said. And of the Princess of Wales herself, she offered this. She was so lovely to work with, always gracious, very creative, and with so much vision and passion for the many charities and causes she supports. Those are not the words of someone speaking for a press release. Those are the words of someone who was genuinely moved by an experience and is honest enough to say so.